Welcome back to NHK Newsline. I'm Kanako Sakno. We start with the coronavirus situation in Japan. The third coronavirus state of emergency has taken effect in Tokyo and 3 western prefectures. It remains to be seen whether 17 days of restrictions will be enough to curb the spread of the virus. Bars and restaurants that serve alcohol or offer karaoke are being asked to close, along with shopping malls and other large facilities. This department store in Tokyo is shut, apart from floors selling food and other daily necessities.
The upcoming week-long holidays are crucial for sales. It was an extremely difficult decision to close most of the store.
Some parts of Tokyo remained busy with people going shopping or sightseeing.
There are still so many people. They aren't taking the state of emergency seriously anymore.
Tokyo reported over 635 new infections on Sunday. Osaka Prefecture continues to be the largest hotspot in Japan. Officials reported 1,050 new cases on Sunday, topping 1,000 for the 6th day in a row. The 180 shops in this underground arcade were closed when the state of emergency took effect. In the ancient capital of Kyoto, temples and shrines have shortened their opening hours.
I hope life will get back to normal soon so people can have peace of mind. I will keep praying and working hard until then.
The minister in charge of the coronavirus response wants people to avoid non-essential outings.
I am sorry to cause people so much inconvenience, but please remind yourself how things were a year ago when the first state of emergency was in place. I must ask you to curb outings more drastically this time.
The government is also taking steps to accelerate the vaccination program. It plans to set up large vaccination centers in Tokyo and Osaka next month. Doctors and nurses from the self-defense forces will be deployed to help vaccinate up to 10,000 people per day. Sunday marks the 16th anniversary of the deadly train crash in western Japan that killed over 100 people. On April 25, 2005, a speeding commuter train on the JR Fukuchiyama line derailed on a curve in Amagasaki City, Hyogo Prefecture. It smashed into a condominium, killing 107 people and injuring 562. The annual memorial service was cancelled for the 2nd straight year due to the coronavirus pandemic, but bereaved families still mourned at the accident site and in their homes.
My son is always in my mind. It may sound strange, but I sometimes say to him, I'm going out, or I'm going to a meeting, as I feel he still lives here.
Some families offered silent prayers to their loved ones at 9:18 a.m., the exact moment the accident took place. An altar was set up at the accident site. The president of West Japan Railway Company pledged that such a tragedy would never happen again.
We sincerely apologize again for causing such a tragic accident that can never be undone.
He says he won't let the memory of the accident fade as a new generation takes over at the company. A treatment for children with a rare enzyme deficiency will be available for the first time in the world when it's introduced in Japan on Monday. Mucopolysaccharidosis 2 is caused by a deficiency of enzymes that break down nutrients such as large sugar molecules. It's also known as Hunter syndrome. It affects a child's physical and mental development. 150 people or more suffer from it in Japan. Giving enzymes to patients can help slow the disease, but it hasn't been possible to administer them directly to the brain or suppress the impact on the brain's development. Now a group led by Dr. Okuyama Torayuki from the National Center for Child Health and Development has come up with a way to do that. The treatment uses special equipment to deliver the enzyme to the brain.
I had heard my child would not be able to grow up without the treatment, so now I have hope.
The cost can run as high as $40,000 per treatment. But with subsidies and support, the price can be brought down to around a few $100s. The Tokyo Olympic torch relay is winding its way through Japan and is now in Miyazaki Prefecture. The current leg of the relay started from the ancient shrine of Takachiho. 12 cities and towns in the southwestern prefecture are along the route. Twin brothers So Shigeru and So Takeshi ran together. They both competed in the 1984 Los Angeles Games. The coronavirus pandemic has prompted municipalities to scale down festivities. The organisers and the prefecture are urging people to watch online or to observe social distancing and refrain from cheering out loud if they watch the relay in person. A US think tank says about 1/3 of Asian Americans worry they could become victims of hate crimes. This follows a series of violent and discriminatory incidents, mainly in New York and California, where many people of Asian descent live. In New York on Friday, a 61-year-old man of Chinese descent was pulled to the ground and his face was repeatedly trampled. His attacker had approached him from behind. The victim was severely injured. The Pew Research Center carried out the survey of 352 Asian Americans aged 21 or older. 81% of the respondents feel violence against Asians has increased since the pandemic began. 32% say they're afraid of being intimidated or physically attacked. The think tank cited several respondents as saying the discrimination and violence was fueled by former President Donald Trump, who repeatedly blamed China for the pandemic. China has added an amphibious assault ship and 2 other warships to its naval fleet covering the South China Sea. China Central Television covered the ceremony to officially commission the ships on the southern island of Hainan on Friday. President Xi Jinping reportedly presented a military flag to the captains and boarded the ships. The Beijing-affiliated Global Times newspaper says the amphibious assault ship is China's first of the type 075, and the other additions are a large destroyer and a nuclear-powered submarine. China has territorial disputes with neighbouring countries over islands in the South China Sea. Observers say the expanded fleet is a sign of the increasing capacities of the Chinese Navy, as well as Beijing's readiness to expand its activities in the South China Sea and around Taiwan. And those were the main stories for this hour. One last story before we go. A food bank north of Tokyo has handed out food and daily necessities to people whose lives have been disrupted by the coronavirus pandemic. The project was organised by a non-profit group set up by the owners of local eating and drinking establishments. Isesaki City is home to many foreign residents. English and Portuguese interpreters were on hand to help them to pick up the items. The group put out an appeal on social media for rice and vegetables, as well as for sanitary products and tissues. They collected enough for about 200 people.
I'm surprised that there are so many people in need. I hope we can give food to as many people who can't afford it as possible.
The group plans to distribute such items on a regular basis. And that wraps up this edition of NHK Newsline. I'm Kaneko Satno in Tokyo. Thanks for watching.